Hello and welcome to Fast and Loud, presented by Harris Fleet Services. Today we're not in the shop, we're actually in the home garage. And what we have is a couple of Harleys. This Harley right here is Lady. She is a 2007 Dyna lowrider. We've had her for a long time. But the thing is when you have a multitude of motorcycles, cars, things like that. Henceforth, we have two cars here that we don't really do a whole lot with. Not out of the fact we don't like them. We actually love them. But one thing always leads to another. You get busy working. 99% of my time I spend in my truck. I have a beautiful 2SS 2018 Camaro convertible. I never drive. Actually, my 15-year-old drives it more than I do lately because she's trying to get her license. But this is one of those things I never have a chance to really get to. So since we have the 3-day weekend, we're actually going to work on the Harley a little bit. She hasn't even been started up in about 2 years. So we're actually going to go through. We're going to do a tune-up on it, stuff like that. We did start putting 15-inch apes on it. And stuff like that. We already have those on and wired. Last weekend, I think, I actually went and ran the clutch cable down and stuff like that, and stuff. So we'll actually show you the rest of the clutch install, kind of the more important side of it, and kind of explain to you how to change a clutch cable or upgrade the clutch. Because when you're doing a set of apes, the clutch is actually the hardest part. Right, everything else is fairly straightforward and easy. Sorry if there's some bad lighting. For some reason, the garage lights aren't working, so I've got to go and figure that part out. So, but I'll figure that part out later today. Wanna kind of show you guys this. I have a cold, so I want to kind of get this done. Get back in the house. I've been in the house for the last 3 days with a hoodie on, thinking, oh my God, why me? So, my wife says I'm a baby when I get a cold. And it's because I hardly ever get one, right? And I've had two in like the last 3 weeks, so sucks. All right, we'll see you in a second. So again, this is Lady, and what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing a set of just simple set of spark plug wires. And again, we're gonna be showing you the clutch and how that actually works over on this side of the motorcycle. Then we're going to try firing her up. We always use a non-ethanol gasoline, and I always store the bikes with almost no fuel in them. But there should be enough fuel in here to start her up. Again, she hasn't been started in a long time, to my dismay. Last time I fired it up to move it and move it into the garage from the other garage. Because the garage is being converted. Yeah, this is Lady. I often joke that if I were to go down in this bike, I would wedge myself between the ground and the bike to save the paint, because I would heal and the paint wouldn't. This is actually my first Harley right here. My wife was very, very against me buying this at first. We had almost like no money, and I really wanted this bike. Yes, my baby right here. I love her like I love one of my children. Sometimes my kids might joke and say actually more. No, I really do love this bike. Again, Dyna lowrider, 07, suede blue paint, vivid black. I love the Harley graphic on the side and stuff like that. This does have a burly lowering suspension kit in the rear. I believe it's a 2-inch drop in the rear. And then everything on this bike has been touched in one way or another. Everything has something on it. And I don't think there's really a part that really hasn't been changed, tweaked, or messed with a little bit. We're even going to end up changing the license plate bracket in these factory taillights at some point. Actually, I have all the parts, I just haven't done it to do a wraparound taillight. Or wrap around the license plate. It has a Reinhardt exhaust, which you'll see in a second. It has a Roland Sands air cleaner. It has Harley grips. It has the knife blade, very, very uncomfortable, unpractical in my opinion. But they look really cool on it. So I bought them because they look cool. Buy parts because they look cool when you're riding a Harley, right? Impractical, but they look very, very cool. Knife blade levers. Roland Sands master cylinder cover and stuff like that. And a lot of Harley script stuff on the for the lug cover or for the axle covers, things like that. This has the hubless or the center, the smooth center rims and stuff on it. This does have a 180 rear tire on it. Factory, I think these came like a 160 or 165 rear tire. This actually has a 180 rear tire on it, and stuff like that. It has the Fat Bob tail light. It has the Karayakin headlight on it and stuff like that. So, bike has been tenderly loved and cared for, and a lot of parts have been changed on it. And that's what riding a Harley is really all about. Is changing parts, right? Making it your own bike, and making sure you love it at the end of the day, right? And most Harley guys will agree, we just love our bikes, right? They are not cheap and easy to work on. They're not overly affordable, and I agree with everybody that says all that about Harley. I really, really do, right? Why do we ride Harley Davidsons? Because it's a Harley at the end of the day, right? It's cool, right? I like them, you know. This bike, honestly, a lot of people don't believe me, but this bike does love me back. So, it's kept me out of bad situations somehow. I don't know, call it fate. Stupid things have happened with this bike where something happened, and this bike almost like it has a personality to kind of save me from a bad situation. One time we were in a ride, and we had a backrest back here. Back when my wife used to ride in this with me. She won't anymore. We have a Street Glide. She's much happier with that. She has her own Harley Davidson Sportster. But we had a backrest on here, and we had this Mustang bag on the back. And I it didn't really fit on the bike, so I used these like 120-pound zip ties to zip tie it down. And middle of the ride, what happens? But one of those zip ties breaks. The bag swings around, and I didn't notice it. The bike stalled, right? And when the bike stalled, that bag swung around at the same time, and my wife's like, "Hey, this bag broke loose," and we were able to kind of grab the bag, and she was able to pull it up to her because we had about 10 minutes to go before we stopped, and we got the bike fired right back up, and I mean it just stalled just like that, right? And we were able to talk about it real quick, fire the bike back up because we were doing about 60 at the time. So some people went around us and stuff like that because they saw that we were having a problem, and you get away from people that were having problems on a motorcycle, right? And I don't blame them for that. But we were able to kind of get everything sorted out quickly and stuff like that. But the bike itself, it always kind of tells me when there's something happening around me, right? So, and I got other weird stories with this bike. This bike has a personality. I really, really do believe it. But we're going to start working on the bike, and we're going to get the camera a little bit closer and show you. Just wanted to give you an up-close view of Lady. We also, a funny thing, is our Street Glide. You're never going to guess this. This is Lady. The Street Glide's Tramp. Now, onto the bike, right? What happened? What had happened? When I was doing the apes, what everyone said, what had happened was when we were doing when I was doing the ape hangers on this thing, and putting these beautiful apes on, I lifted up the tank, and I thought I smelled fuel. And when you think you smell fuel, you should stop and check and see if you have a fuel leak. And what had happened is this right here is my fuel line. You'll notice there's a bolt in it now. So when I came home, after doing the apes, I had to come out to the garage and do something real quick. And it's a good thing I did. I had fuel all over the garage. And realized quickly it was coming from a lady. So what we did is we went and bought a new fuel line. Because I had broken it and I didn't know where I had broken it off at. And it was kind of simple. In here, there's a plastic piece. That one right there. It broke when I lifted up the tank to run the wire, to run some wiring, right? So when I did that, it broke. Now I have to replace it. These are very, very difficult to replace. I'm going to show you how. The front side of this, extremely easy. This collar right here, this little chrome tab, right? You just simply, watch, it's not going to be simple. No. Oh, it does. All right, you push up, pull down. You'll get a little bit of fuel spillage, but that's it right there, right? The other part might be a little more difficult to get to, but we'll deal with that here in a second. But that's it for the most part to get your tank loose anyway, which I should have done, and I didn't, because, you know, I'm really, really smart sometimes. You know, I figured I was going this big, this much, this much, you know? So why do all that, right? So I did ape some of my other bike, and I did take that off, and it's really simple. But I didn't here. So don't shortcut, kids. No shortcuts working on things. All right, we're gonna get to start working on another piece, and I'll complain about how hard it was, or tell you how easy it was. All right, so we're coming out of time lapse. This was really, I was pulling up on that blue part right there for a second. Then I was like, wait, let's try pushing down. I pushed down and came right off. Very, very simple. Thank you, Harley Davidson, on this one. I mean, it broke. But that was my problem. Yeah, that was super simple. So, you guys out there changing the fuel line? Boom. Just push down. So, now we're going to put this one on. Here's the new goodness. It does not just push down, pushes in. Has a tab that pops up. That's why I thought that was going to be like that. You know. So, but, yeah. Just push in, I think, is going to be the key. Has that fancy dancy little thingamabobber. So we're gonna go back into the time lapse because hey, no one wants to see a fat guy struggle with things on a Harley Davidson. So yeah, give me a minute, and we're gonna pop this thing in real quick, and then we'll come out of time lapse, and I can complain about how easy it was. But if it's like 2 seconds on time lapse, then you know it was easy. If it's like 10 minutes. You see me walk around and like leave the camera view, you know it sucked. All right, 1 second. All right, well, that was pretty simple. Put it in, click the little black button the other way. This, pop it in. I gave it a tug, popped out for a second. Just messed the thing in, put it back in, clicked in. Went fine. Now we just got to reattach this horn. And then we're going to pull these plugs out and change these plug wires. We've got a new set of MSDs. And then we're going to show you the clutch on the clutch side. And then refill our transmission. Should be pretty straightforward. I know. I'm sweating. It's hot out here. This garage is like just a shaded area, you know, and this is still Florida. Something cool, some people from New York will see that right there, that little yellow tag. That is actually my original, or one of my New York State inspection stickers. I've never taken it off, because why bother, right? Yeah, the last New York State inspection on the bike was from 2015. And again, cool bike, love it. Yeah, so we're gonna pop this horn on, and then we'll show you the parts and stuff like that. Give me a second. Johnny, edit the whole parts part. Every time I say Johnny edit something, oh well, actually you guys never see it because Johnny edits that part out. I kind of think it's cool. Leave it in, you know. Johnny edit that. You know, Johnny edit that. No, Johnny is my son. He does all of our video editing and stuff like that, and he's doing a great job. Keep it up. Yeah. So we're gonna change the wires. We'll show you the wires that we're gonna use, and we'll also show you the spark plugs we're gonna use. We went with fancy dancy ones. Fancy dancy. All right, 1 second. Okay, so we're back with the parts. All right, so we've got these MSD wires here. And we'll look at them. So yeah, MSD wires for the bike. You know, one's gonna go about there. This one's gonna go about way over there. And MSD. Our fancy dancy spark plugs are from Drag Specialties. Not a sponsored video. So if they suck, I get to tell you they suck. And fancy dancy, see they're all like goldish, right? With all the chrome, it should look great. All the gold. But now you won't really see it. So, but yeah, these are what we're putting on. We're gonna put these on real quick. I'm gonna hop back into time lapse. Put the horn back. I'll put the horn back on after we put the spark plug wires on, and stuff like that. But we're gonna pop it into time lapse, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, thanks. So, recap what we did. We changed the fuel line, removed and reinstalled the horn, had to, clearance. Put on a new set of Drag Specialties spark plugs and some MSD wires. I really didn't want red MSD wires on a blue bike because, you know, contrast. This doesn't really fit, so we will make one. I'd much rather do that anyway, is make one to keep these separated. And we have to do something about the one up here. Something about this bike, I've ridden it a lot. When I got it, it had like 3,000 miles on it. Currently, there is probably 15,000 miles on it. And I know a lot of people in Florida are like, that's not riding a lot. I own this bike in New York. So anybody in New York knows, you ride your motorcycle only during the summer. And in New York, you have roughly, let's say, 30 days of good riding weather, and it's not all at one time, right? So, but I rode this bike in the cold and stuff like that, you know, that sort of stuff. And when I moved here to Florida, I had a lot less time to ride this and stuff like that, even though I'd ride it to work occasionally and things. But had a lot less time to ride, you know, living in the riding capital of the United States, you know, or one of the riding genres. I mean, this bike's been at Daytona and stuff like that. But you do end up with less time as you get busier. Adulting sucks. I heard that in a commercial not long ago, or like yesterday. Adulting sucks is like the song. So that's not a profanity, so I still haven't sworn. Even though I don't allow my kids to say sucks until they're like 15. You know, my daughter's old. Agree, I'm like, you're not old enough to say suck shit. But adulting does suck. These are the original spark plugs and spark plug wires from the factory. So please don't hate me, because I've had the bike for a long time, and I've never changed the plug wires on it or plugs. I mean, and they're actually not in bad shape. I mean, just because there's no mileage on the bike, I wanted to change them just because why not? It's been a long time, and stuff like, or forever, you know. So The has had work done to it though, but those are still the original spark plug wires. You know, it's been fuel packed and stuff like that, and jugged and all that sort of stuff. But that's neither here nor there, right? So now we're going to switch over to the transmission side. I'll show you guys that. Don't actually know how I'm going to get the camera angle over. I might actually have to move Lady over a little bit to get some room to actually show you guys it. But again, the hardest part about doing apes, for the most part, I mean, you can buy plug-and-play setups and stuff like that. The hardest part is actually the transmissions, the clutch cable, right? That's like the part a lot of people kind of fear. The first time I did it, that was my big fear. Like, I was really trying to find good reference material, and it was hard to find it. So hopefully we can give you guys some good reference material, and you can go out and do your own set of apes, right? Because honestly, again, riding any motorcycle should be your own, but making the motorcycle really, really comfortable for you should be something that everyone wants to do. And even if you don't want to go with apes, you just want to change to a different style bar, set of T-bars, drag bars, whatever. Generally you have to change the clutch cable, right? Or even if you have a bad clutch cable on older bikes, stuff like that, right? So we'll show you how to do that, and we'll show you how to adjust it, right? So stay tuned. All right, so now we're on to the transmission. We already fed our clutch cable through. That's fairly easy. Things you want to keep in mind, okay? On most motorcycles, you're gonna have to get your exhaust to pull away. Don't be all that afraid of that. It's not a big deal. Some guys will take their exhaust down. I just loosened mine up, pulled mine back. I used a can of brake clean that's out of frame, but it's over there. And just put it between the frame and the exhaust, just kind of hold the exhaust back, just so it was easier to get to the bottom bolts on the transmission cover. On the transmission, try to open it up here. You really can't, because it's all set. Very sorry. There is a round, I don't know, like gear thing. Harley guys don't murder me. And it has kind of like a hooked end. You just want to make sure that's slid all the way back, so the clutch is in the closed position, right? As you're putting all this back, so basically you want your clutch de-adjusted all the way, so there's no tension, and you want to take the clutch cable, push it all the way backward, and then you can reinstall this. That's really it. That's the hardest part. There's 3 balls in there. Make sure they go back to where they have to go. There is a sorry, again, cold. There is a snap ring. Snap ring has to come off. You take the thing off, and it's very, very simple. Not difficult at all. My daughters could do this, and I don't mean that as a degradation against women. My daughters are very, very handy, but yeah, it's very, very simple. Just remove a part, put it back together the way it was. That's really it. Mystery solved, right? Just the only thing is you don't want that forward when you go and put the cover back on. If you have that forward, that's where the transmission is going to think the clutch adjustment is at, in the closed position, right? Because you should have your bike in neutral and things like that, and your clutch de-adjusted, okay? Because I don't know if you can see it, there's a little gear here, right? And that's actually going to push against there, and that's what makes contact inside your transmission, is this little gear that you can barely see. Okay, so that is that part of that. So we're gonna slam this together real quick and see what we get. All right, thanks. All right, so we have our transmission cover all bolted back in, and we'll deal with our exhaust here in a minute. But we're going to go around and we're going to show you how to, told you earlier. Just in case everyone's like, hey, there's a can of brake clean right there. It's not to clean stuff off. Distance for the exhaust. So we're going to show you how to adjust up a clutch a little bit. So we'll see you there in a minute. Okay, well, welcome back. We buttoned up the exhaust. It's just putting on an exhaust, not a big deal. Even though this one fought me because we kind of pulled it and everything like that. But we're back on this, and this is what we're going to show you. Is this right here, right? The magic and beauty of a clutch cable. Again, anything like this is fairly straightforward, right? Most people can do it. All they do is have to take a little bit of time and put some effort into it, right? And everything will be fine. We're going to drop you guys down here a little bit. Okay. So now we're down here, and what we're going to be working on is right there. This beautiful thing right here. This is the clutch adjustment, right? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to start adjusting the cable. Just turn it. The important part comes in a minute, where we set the actual adjustment. There's probably people out there that are like, nah, you do it like this. This is the way I learned how to do it. So, if someone has a better way to do it, mention it in the comments. So that way everyone gets to learn about working on motorcycles, right? So, I mean, one of you Harley techs out there like, no, dude, you're doing it totally the wrong way, right? Educate us all, right? I think there's nothing better than education in the world, right? And even an old dog can learn a new trick. And I love learning new tricks. So if anyone's got one, share, right? I tell people all the time that the automotive community, us at large, we're dying. We're a dinosaur, right? We're going out, right? People don't want to become mechanics anymore. So if we can show people easier ways to do things, right? Maybe we'll encourage the next round of mechanic, the next guy in line. All right, and that is a cool thing. And what we're looking for is about a nickel's worth, the thickness of about a nickel up here. So I'm just going to grab the whole tripod and bring it up. So hopefully, let's lock these in. All right, so what we're looking for is for this to be about the length of a nickel, right there. So that's really kind of it. I'm going to just finish this thing up and get this thing started. And stuff like that. So, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that nickel's gap, right, on it. And I'm gonna fine tune it, get it all where it should be, and then I'll be back. You just don't want to see me turning a knob and checking something. It's just boring. So when I come back, we'll probably fire it up. Right? Because that's cool. All right. Well, see you on the fire. All right. So what we ended up doing is, just because it's been a while, I decided I wanted to adjust the clutch as well. So it's fairly easy. All you do is have to take the derby cover off. I already adjusted it, but I'll de-adjust it for the sake of the video. Allen head, 11/16. These L wrenches, whatever you want to call them. These work great for this. And what you want to do is just want to break this loose, not like that. Like that. This is kind of like a sensitivity kind of thing. Sensitivity training for mechanics. Now, back the nut off a little bit, right? Is always a good idea, right? And what you're going to do, and we'll bring you in really, really close for it. Might work. All right, is you're going to run this in until you just feel it touch Right there is the touch. So right there is it's touching. Now you got to back it off. Okay. Half to a full turn. I usually go half turn personally. All right. So we know it's touching right there, right? So half turn, right, is going to be right there. Right? Now all we do is have to snug this nut back up. Hopefully this slides over. Oh, we got so lucky. All right. So now all we do is have to tighten it back down. I think the torque spec on this is like 80 foot-pounds, so you don't have to like kill it, you know, and stuff like that. But that's it in a nutshell. So that's like bam, there's your clutch adjusted. So clutch adjustment 101. Just that easy. Hardest part is not dropping your derby cover in the oil, which I did. So I'll have to clean it. So we'll see you in the next one, next part. We're back. We got the clutch adjusted. We got the transmission filled up. Derby cover topped off. This bike's kind of easy to do transmission fluid and derby cover. You usually got to have two people or have it on a stand. This bike, the suspension's lowered so the bike almost stands straight up. So all I do is literally got to hold it with my hip and top something off. And I've kind of become innate to working on it that way. Knock on wood. It's never tipped over on me. It just has enough slant on it where it doesn't. But when I do park it for a long time, if I'm in a parking lot or something like that, I try to find something with a dip that kind of helps me. Never parking on a slope going the other way. It's just good idea anyway. But we're about to check it, and whenever you do apes and wiring, there's a way you should actually check it. Right, so bike on, bike's in neutral, and then start testing your switches. Horn, works. High beam, works. Signal, working. Okay. Other signal, working. Okay, all right. So far we're good. High beam, we already checked that. Horn, four ways. Let's check those. Wait. There we go. Four way. Okay. All right. Shut off the four ways. Okay. Now this is the brake. Let's see. Is the brakes working? Boom. Brakes working. All right. Clutch. It's clutching. Again, bike in neutral. And we'll put it into run. I don't know if you can hear it, but fuel pump kicked on. And now for the moment of truth. Now, a lot of guys will just bump it. Everything should be back together in this, so she should fire up, theoretically. Exhaust isn't bolted on all the way because I was missing two exhaust bolts in the back, so if I shut it off quick, it's because I don't have any of the exhaust bolts in on the heads. So we're not going to let this run long. If it does run, if it does start up, it doesn't have a problem. I'm not letting it run long. So let's shake and bake, huh? All right. And she ran like she was supposed to. So yeah, good for us, right? So victory to the Fast and Loud YouTube channel today. A lot of this stuff is just routine to do on your motorcycle. So not a lot of it even is concerned with doing, apes. It's, stuff you should know anyway, just to take care of your motorcycle. And no one's really ridden this bike in a long time. Last person to ride this really was my brother. And I'll never let him ride it again either because one, the bike's really, really special to me. Two, let me show you my brother's bike. And if he's watching this YouTube video, yeah, Dyna you out, fool. So my brother, Jeff, a while ago, do this the way we always do. So, backstory, about 2 years ago now, coming on 2 years, this would be year 2. My brother calls me and he says, bro, me and my wife are separating. I want a bigger bike. I want a Street Glide. He's used to riding a Sportster, kind of like my wife's Sportster over here. I'm like, okay. I go, what do you want? Like a Dyna or something like that? And he had ridden my Dyna not long before that. And he's like, no, I want a Street Glide, because he knew I had a Street Glide. So I found this. Now, it was not in this condition when I found it. This is a 2006, I believe, if my memory serves. Street Glide. It's in that cranberry color or Merlot or something like that, in that wine color. All right, for 2006 Street Glide, 512 cams, Vance and Hines exhaust. This is Paul Yaffe bars. This is an awesome bike to ride. Was an awesome bike to ride. So what had happened is we rode, me and him. He flew down here and we rode our motorcycles from Fort Pierce, Florida, where I live, right from this very spot, from this very garage. Right, this bike was actually sitting about 3 feet closer to the door than it was now when we left. And we rode all the way to Virginia because he wanted to take 95. I'm not a fan of 100% taking 95. He wanted to because he wanted the most direct route, right? I think he was just afraid of getting lost. And that's okay. He's not used to long road trips and stuff like that. But going into Virginia, right, just out of Richmond, traffic, stops suddenly. I get over to one side, and I don't know how I met, because the cars were like coming in at me. And he takes a header on the bike, rear ends somebody, damages it. But to his credit, he rode this even after he wrecked it back to New York. Did not stop. So kudos to you, Jeff. Always admired that. All right, would not give up that ride. But after that, he was riding this to work, and a deer jumped onto the bike, and he went boom. And he's okay. A little bit of road rash, but a little wear and tear. Bike took blunt of the damage and stuff like that. But yeah, because of this, he can't ride Lady anymore, ever again. Because 2 accidents on this bike means no accidents on mine. So yeah, beautiful bike, beautiful Street Glide. I actually really enjoyed riding this bike. Now it's just in my garage, and my wife wants it gone. So Jeff, take it. But no, cool bike and stuff like that. Just thought I'd show you. I think he actually might want to sell it. And he has all the parts to put back together. So anybody who sees and wants a Street Glide, I think he's in the market to liquidate this bike. And it is a cool bike. I mean, I would buy it if I had the money, but I don't have any. I'm married with kids. I don't have any money. All right. Well, as usual, let's turn it over this way. As usual, this is my Buick. This is actually my baby right here. One of my babies. I got one there, one here, one over there, another one over there. But I love this car. Me and my wife got this just before we got married. Right, so car is very special. I have so many memories of my kids in this car, and you're going to see videos in this car coming up too. We did a lot of metal work to it and things like that, and things. But you'll see videos on this car too, coming up probably right here at the home garage for Fast and Loud. So, and if anyone's wondering, please, nobody in the comments, no one call it a Duster. I hate that so much. People call it, hey, nice Duster Gold. It's not a Duster Gold, and it's not a Pontiac, and it's not a Chevy. It's not a Chevelle. This is a two-door sedan Buick Skylark, Buick 350 motor in it. It has four-wheel disc brakes on it. When we bought it, it had manual drum. So now power disc, all four corners. We have really cool TMI interior. It's going to go in it and stuff like that. And we're repainting it in orange with a black stripe and gray separation pinstripe line and stuff like that. So please stay tuned for that because it's a real cool car. But as usual, right? What do we say at the end of every video? Make it fast, keep it dirty, but have fun and be safe, right? Because that's the most important thing. No matter if you're working on a motorcycle, you're working on a car, make it fast, keep it dirty, all right? Because no trailer queens allowed. All right, well, I'm sick. I'm gonna go and take a shower because I'm sopping wet with sweat. Again, I'm sick, so I kind of just want to get back in bed, you know? My wife told me to come out here to do this video. So, and blah, 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 blah.